So I just also want to get your view on the auto pack. Now the auto stocks were some of the best performing stocks today. In fact, if you look at the top gainers, top 5 gainers in the Nifty pack, 3 of them were auto stocks. And it seems that, after a period of underperformance, the two-wheeler stocks are once again shining. Now brokerages are saying that their focus on premiumization is going to help. How do you see, two-wheeler stocks performing in the next few months or so?
So it's a great space to be. Again, partly because of the reasons I mentioned. I think typically ahead of a marriage season, you do see and festives, you do see inventory build up by the dealers and stockists at the ground level. I think even though the monsoons have, I think, on an aggregate been about 10% deficient, I think it's been all right enough from a perspective of not dampening rural demand to a great extent. I think, if you look at two wheelers, as you very rightly pointed out, you can either look at mass or you can look at premium. While you do have Harley Davidson that's coming through Hero, and I think Bajaj and TVS have also spoken about having bikes in that 250 to 500 cc range. My sense is that Aisha will continue to be the person that will dominate that space. While obviously it will definitely cede some market share. See, remember one thing: the only person who can lose market share is the person who has market share. And sometimes losing market share is not the worst thing in the world when the category itself is growing, right? So you may well be able to claw that market share back if other entrants come in and actually grow the market size for you. We have seen a correction in iShares stock post the announcements by Hero and Bajaj and TVS. It looks like an interesting play. I think even if you look at the sub 250cc segment and compare it to say a Bajaj or a Hero or a TVS, iShares is actually holding its own. I think last many months, I think they've given a CAGR of about 10-11% in terms of volume growth. At the bottom of the pyramid, I think if you want to play the absolute rural recovery, I think Hero is probably the way to do it because they have, I think, about 50% of the market share in the sub 100cc space. Typically, this is the space that tends to do well around this time of the year, and I think the numbers will show up. I wouldn't be surprised if for the next 3-4 months, Hero is able to compound its sales by about 5-10% every month, month on month. Not a blanket overweight, but I think given where we are over the next 6 months or so, I definitely look at nibbling into names like Eicher and Hero MotoCorp at these prices.
All
So,
right. Yes, yes, Suyash.
also keeping it with the auto stocks, I just also want to quickly get your view on the diesel car makers as well. And as we know that there will be no, at least for now, there is, the talks of additional GST, additional tax on diesel vehicles have been quashed by Mr. Nitin Gadkari. But if you hear the commentary coming in, it suggests that in the gradual phase out of internal combustion vehicles, perhaps diesel cars will be the first to go out. So just quickly, if you could give us your view.
And who does it hurt the most? I mean, come to think of it, the top players, Tata, M&M, which other players are we counting here, Rahul?
So I think when you look at it from a passenger vehicle standpoint, I think auto manufacturers over the last 5 years have anyway been diversifying away from diesel and sort of increasing their production of petrol and electric vehicles, or even hybrid fuels for that matter. So I think from a passenger vehicle standpoint, it's not going to be too much of a deterrent. As you guys rightly pointed out, diesel is still a very important fuel when it comes to commercial vehicle traffic. There also, I think if you look at the commentary that the gas manufacturers like Indraprastha Gas or Mahanagar Gas and the others give, there is a reasonable conversion that's happening to CNG on CNG vehicles, particularly in North India, in markets like Delhi, the NCR, the UP region, the Bihar region. So I think there is a reasonable migration. And I think if you've heard the commentary coming in from ALL, Ashok Leyland, there's a very large investment that they have made into the electric vehicles. There's a lot of private equity funding that's come into the Switch Mobility. And through their platform, Dost and Bada Dost, I think the reception of that has been reasonably strong. So I think as a fuel, it's definitely a fuel of the past. I think a lot of people are already in the process of migrating. If they haven't already migrated, I think the competition is going to be between petrol, electric vehicles, and CNG. And of course, a lot of it is going to be determined by the way crude prices move. Because while EVs to me is still a slightly longer term play, because the charging infrastructure in India is still not as vibrant as it probably already should have been. But if crude prices say would come back to about 75, we are in a pre-election year. So if you have a little bit of petrol prices cut at the pump level, the fight will be between CNG and petrol. But as far as I'm concerned, I think diesel is a fuel of the past, and I don't think manufacturers in any subsegment of auto are looking at making any major investments into this fuel. At least I think the future is hybrid, and I think all companies, either through EVs or hybrids, have either gotten private equity money or will be getting so in the not too distant future.